All right, friends. With Purim just a week away, and with so many things in the air, it's hard to figure out what to talk about, but let's focus on the Parsha. Let's talk some Torah. It's Parsha Tetzaveh, which has a lot in it, including the way that the priests, the high priest, would dress, how they would offer their sacrifices. After last week, Truma, learning about the furniture for the sanctuary, for the tabernacle itself, now we learn about the people who serve within, their conduct, their garb, and all sorts of hierarchies. But one of the things that's interesting about Parsha Tetzaveh is an absence. Often we look in the text for what we call a lacuna, something, a gap in the text. Often Midrash fills that in. Recently, I've been using artificial intelligence and experimenting what would ChatGPT or another one of the artificial intelligences that we are beginning to experiment with offer in the presence of the absence. So my books, the AI Torah commentary, have been fascinating, not always satisfying, but very interesting. Just as the human heart can sometimes offer an answer to what's missing, but often falls short because what's missing remains missing. And as we are sharing those people that we are remembering, either because we have just experienced their losses or because their yurtzites, their anniversary of their death, is a ritualized way of us marking an absence, how things change. Well, it is a powerful step to look for what's missing. This week's Parsha Tetzaveh is unique in the entire Torah, starting with the beginning of Exodus, because it is the only Torah portion from the beginning of Exodus to the end of the entire Torah where Moses does not appear. And there are thoughts about why. Commentators have certainly offered their interpretation as to why there is an absence. But I actually just wanted to take today to notice absence, to take a break, to not actually try to fill in the space when we notice that there's a void. One of the deepest and most important and difficult practices in Judaism is the tradition of visiting a Shiva house. When you are visiting someone who has experienced a loss and is sitting Shiva, it's actually the tradition to walk into the space and not talk, to let it be quiet, to not generate sound. And of course, the inclination is to fill up that uncomfortable silence with sound, with words, and to try to make it better. But in fact, we learn, certainly rabbis learn, but I think friends and human beings also learn, that you can't make it better with words. We offer a quiet presence, and the person who's in mourning speaks when they want to, about what they want to. And we help them grieve. We don't try to make it better or make it happier or make it less sad. Today, as Kim just shared, would have been her sister-in-law Eve's 61st birthday. May her memory be blessed. And the absence of anyone we love, of anyone we know, is real and worthy of acknowledgement. The sadness that comes with that absence is significant and deserves its space. So instead of offering the way that the rabbis try to answer, why is Moshe missing from this week's Parsha, I just want to notice that he's not there. Invite us into that space. Today also happens to be the 20th anniversary of the day Mr. Rogers died. And as a child, I spent many hours learning many lessons from a very sweet neighbor who taught me that I was special. And his absence in my children's experience, let alone in my own, is significant. And so let's just take a moment. I invite you, even as it's uncomfortable, even as this is something I typically don't do during these beautiful gatherings of our community, because the silence in digital space is actually even louder. It really is. But I invite you just for 30 seconds, actually in the spirit of Fred Rogers, because he had people do this a lot. I invite you to think of someone who influenced your path for good. Call them to mind. Someone who is no longer alive. Call them to mind. For 30 seconds, I'll watch the time. Mr. Rogers was honored decades after starting Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood on PBS. And he invited the audience to do just what we just did, which is think of someone who impacted your life for the better, who no longer walks this earth. And when he did so, the audience just started crying, smiling. He watched his watch, he watched the clock. And when the 30 seconds were up, he said, how happy they would be to know that you thought of them just now. I'm sure he's right. Noticing the absence of Moshe is actually practice for acknowledging what is missing in our lives, who is missing in our lives. And I want to wish us infinite comfort, but not the erasure of noticing. What a gift it is to have each other. What a significant space each of us takes up. And when we leave this earth, as inevitably we each do, what a comfort in advance it is to know that we will be missed. Very powerful, friends. May we have long, healthy, beautiful, blessed lives. May we overcome the challenges we face. May we comfort each other appropriately, acknowledging that sometimes the comfort we need is a quiet presence, not words. Bless you all, friends. Bless you all, and bless Moshe Rabbeinu. May the memory of our teacher Moses, whose absence this parsha we notice, may it be for a blessing too. Let's have a good day, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bless you, friends. See you tomorrow.